Okay. Okay, if you can make your way back to your seats. It's good to hear the big conversations going on. Lots of networking, lots of questions amongst each other. That's fantastic from my point of view. And obviously something that we're looking to continue beyond the event. I'm very quickly going to introduce the next session, which is creating value for business through innovation. We're looking at how we create more innovation in the county. And to do that, I'm going to introduce Nigel Hall, who's a non-exec director on the LET board. Nigel.
I always get scared when I start using one of these because I'm a technologist. I'll get it wrong. Firstly, it's great that we've got a swimming pool, isn't it? We can just go and chill out in there straight away after this. Firstly, introduction. My name's Nigel Hall. For those of you who don't know me, and as Gary said, I've recently joined the LET board, and I've just taken on the responsibility of trying to grow what effectively we'll talk about in a moment, which is the innovation model for Worcestershire. For me, I'm very passionate about this subject, and you'll pick up that through the conversation today. I think we've got a tremendous opportunity in Worcestershire to really make a difference in terms of this innovation and technology space. We've got some fantastic businesses around. We've got some great ambitions. The challenge is we all need to do it together. We won't be able to achieve that without that. And collaboration is going to be absolutely key to making this happen. Firstly, in terms of what we're going to try and cover, one, we'll basically go through giving you a bit of a flavour about what that ambition is for Worcestershire. Secondly, I want to talk a little bit about one of our fantastic enablers that we've got, and Donston, who is one of the team at that enabler called BetaDen. Some of you will know it. It's a tech accelerator that we've had in the region for a while, and it's already breeding some fantastic startups and scale-ups that, again, some of you people are in the audience as well, and there's a huge opportunity to grow more and more of those as time goes on, and Donston will tell you a bit more about that. And thirdly, we've got a brilliant speaker today on that lovely subject called AI, which most of you get really scared about and think, oh my goodness me, they're all going to take our jobs. But it's a fascinating engagement from Dr. Faninda Balagan over there. And Finda's going to tell us a little bit about what that's all about, but more importantly, the applicability to business and how we as business leaders can take advantage of that thing called AI. Okay, so who am I? Just to repeat. My background is that I've been a non-executive director, I'm an advisor, and I'm a board member for a number of incubators, accelerators, and tech startups around the world. Background is that I started life as an apprentice, funnily enough, working in the electronics field and software field. And I went on my journey to eventually land in a company that was meant to be closed down called Orange, the mobile operator, and I was part of the startup team in Orange. And I had the successful journey to be able to be given the opportunity to lead that business's overseas startup activity for a number of years of my career. I eventually left the organization in 2006, otherwise I'd probably still be sat in Paris, which is where HQ is now. And I was used as a hired gun in the market to transform businesses from one state to another, typically at the very early stage of technology, right the way through to large corporates. I've been working for companies like McLaren, F1 technology. I've worked for companies like KPMG, running the TMT sector leadership program, and also responsible as an MD for one of the business units there. But I've also done tech startups right from the beginning. I know what it's like to live and breathe, building a company from nothing, raising capital, scaling it up, and in my case, selling them as well. I also set up the Orange Ventures arm, which is a venture business that in the US, we bought the first company we managed to buy. They went on to found Android, that little software thing that's on each of your mobile phones. And we sold that guy to, would you believe, Google Ventures, and they followed suit and copied us. So that's the sort of environment I've lived in from an innovation point of view, and hopefully I can share some of that, what that looks like for the future of Worcestershire. And I'm really proud because I've spent 30 years of my career here, but I've never worked here. So it's a brilliant opportunity to get to know some of you as well. So please, please, please come and introduce yourself when you get the chance later. Okay, so what's innovation? Let's talk about the ambition. As I'm sure most of you will have seen these types of phrases before, there's some wacky things go on in the innovation space, and Faninda will talk a little bit more about that as well as we go on the journey of telling you about that today. But for me, in simple terms, and the history tells us this as well, if you look at anywhere in the world, and particularly in the US right now, you'll see that Innovation fundamentally drives economic value in any part of the world. It creates those startups, those scale-ups, they build opportunity. And for us, as part of the LET program and the growth plan, we need to do more and more of that right now in order to build the growth plan for the future. And some of the feedback you've heard already about building the opportunities for young people, this is the way we're going to do it. It's these types of things that are going to build on that to allow us to do that. If we're going to create the economic value for the future, we need to engage with this. And I need each and every one of you to help us do that. So what does good look like? This is a slide that we went through as a board recently, and we approved that this is our ambition. This is what we want to be in the region. Firstly, it's about having a fantastic talent development capability. Typically, for most people and for most places in the world, you'll find that that's the universities, the colleges, and picking up a point that was raised earlier on the feedback loop, you've got this situation where digital skills, entrepreneurial skills, these are all of the components of something that you need to have absolutely at your fingertips in order to build the next generation of founders and entrepreneurs that are going to create the next big company. We have a responsibility in the Worcestershire area to do more of this. This is a great opportunity for us to do more. And you've picked up today through some of the feedback that it is around those digital skills and it is around those entrepreneurial skills. And I believe that a lot of the youth of our region are really interested in wanting to do more of that. They want to build companies from start. They do want to have those skills. They do want to grow their own companies. There's more and more of a need for that than there's ever been before. And we have a duty to try and help them on that journey. The second piece of the jigsaw is something called enablers. Most of you will come across tech incubators, tech accelerators, universities that have spin-out units. These are what I mean by enablers. If you don't have the enablers, you don't create the tubes that allow that talent to flow through and come out the other side and build successful businesses. So it's really critical that we do more of this. And I'm really proud of this, and I genuinely am. Actually, one of the UK's award-winning ones is sitting in Worcestershire called Beta Den. For those of you who don't know it, please engage with it, and Donston will tell you a bit more about that in a moment. But we need to do more. And we've got some plans. We've got plans to do more incubators, plans to do more accelerators. And again, if we make more tubes, then the flow of talent through them will hopefully help us on our journey and them on their journey towards future businesses. There's a third piece that makes this successful. And in the US, particularly in Silicon Valley, where I've spent some time, and also the East Coast of the US, where I've spent some time too, you'll find that one of the other and the biggest and most valuable component is having a funding model. There's no point in building great talent, producing lots of fantastic enablers, if there's no way to fund them through that journey. And one of the biggest challenges that most businesses have is where do they get the money from to scale their companies up? So this, for me, is vital. And one of the things we're going to talk about at the end, and this is the ask today, is we want to talk about, do we build an angel group in the region? Do we build a capability that can fund and invest into early stage startups and scale-ups? Again, it's something we have in little pockets, but let's look again at whether we can do that in a bigger way. But this will be the key to the success of this innovation model and the reasons why we'll be successful in the future. So, worth knowing that we do very well, actually, in Worcestershire in terms of innovation. We do quite a lot on the grant side. We have very active innovation active label, which is used by government bodies. Large percentage of people also invest and try to invest in R&D. The challenge is, I bet a lot of you out there don't know where to look if you are looking to get grant and funding for this. Back to the funding model again. So one of the opportunities and the threats out there at the moment is if you want to grow the innovation model, many companies don't even know what good looks like when it comes to finding those flow of funds. So it's being enabled to know where to go to get the right level of investment that you need for your business in R&D. So whilst we do very well in Worcestershire, I think we can do more. And I know the Growth Hub under Luke spending quite a lot of time making sure that everyone understands where all the possible pots of gold are to try and help people on their journey in this space, and that's really critical. And we need to do more of it. So in many respects, UK-wise, we're a little bit behind in terms of the level of R&D investment that we should have. And I suspect that part of that is because we need to help each other to find all those funding pots more aggressively than we probably have done before. And I think we'll hopefully see some progress on that in due course. after we were so rudely interrupted, as they say. What we're going to do now is I'm going to hand you over to Donston, who is the External Affairs Director for BetaDen. Donston's going to take you through a series of questions. We need your engagement on that. We'll then go into the AI section, a little bit about BetaDen as well. But I also want you to start thinking about something that's on your tables. If you take a look there's a little sheet of paper which starts to talk about where we might need your help. So I do want you to start thinking about that as we're going through the next session as well, because I'll expect you to be ticking some boxes and handing bits of paper in before you leave. Otherwise, you don't get any coffee next time, all right? All right, so, okay. So I'm going to hand over to Donston. Over to you, sir.
Thank you. Hello, hello. Oh, yeah, testing works. Great. That's a good start. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for coming back. I was a bit worried about that section, and I'm hoping that you guys have got the right anchors on your cars now, which looks like some of them have been floating away. But yeah, I'll make a start. So good morning. For those who don't know me, my name is Donston Powell. I'm the External Affairs Director at BetaDen. We are Worcestershire's award-winning technology accelerator program. My journey has been driven by a profound interest in the connection between technology and business development, with a main focus on how innovation can help shape the future of our local economy. At BetaDen, I've had the privilege of working with some of the brightest technologies around the region, some of whom are in the room today. I can see you. Yeah, thanks. And fostering strategic partnerships and supporting pioneering projects that push the boundaries of what's possible. Today, I'm here to talk about the vibrant innovation landscape in Worcestershire. We'll dive into the critical role that technology plays in our region's growth, how innovation is viewed amongst local businesses, and what support is available to help support these nurturing advancements. I'm thrilled to share the insights of our esteemed guests and hear firsthand some of the personal experiences that you guys have had. And hopefully together we can help turn potential into progress, because obviously this is what we are here for today. So let's get to the show. I think the first question here, all right, so we'll start with this first question here on the polls. Do you consider yourself an innovative business? If you can please refer to your Slido. We're like, ooh, nice. Well, this is actually very promising because we have seen that just because you're not in part of a particular sector, you not necessarily have technology available in your processes, there is still innovation out there, whether you're implementing a CRM system or if you just have a change flow of management. There's always some kind of innovation that doesn't necessarily mean you're implementing robots or you're utilizing AI. So it's good to see that you do actually see yourselves mostly as an innovative business. If we can move on to the next one. Okay. Which aspects now do you consider yourself to be innovative within? Have a think about that. Is it your product development process, CRM, like I said before? Are you implementing AI into your business? Supply chain management? New products and services, which, yeah, that will. I'm shocked by the digital and technological adoption. I thought that would have been higher on the list. I'm an absolute geek. If you do know me, I love my tech, hence being part of BetaDen. And okay, now it's gone. Did I influence that? Did I just do? I did. I'm not here to influence. I'm here to literally listen to your actual opinions. There's someone I want to pick on today. Wow, who is implementing technology further within Worcestershire. They're quite new to the region. Roland from Midland Road Studios. Can you just talk a bit about how you're actually implementing technology and digital innovation within your business?
I certainly can.
There's a mic on its way, Roland.
There's a mic on its way. I can just. Oh, there we go. I don't need to shout. Thank you very much, Johnston. We met recently, so I'm CEO of Marketing and Technologies Group. So we moved to Worcester about 3 years ago, and we've got 50 employees, and we are a marketing and tech development business. So I've got one of the biggest 3D development teams outside of the film and the games industry in the UK. And generally we work for big corporate globals, and pre-COVID, we designed a system that allowed you to go and do virtual exhibitions and conferences and guided sales rooms and interactive 3D environments online. nobody said it would catch on, and it was tough. And one of my pieces about technology is about culture and adoption. You know, let's be Amazon, not the high street. And then COVID happened, and then I looked like I knew what was going on, which was fantastic. And we did really well. We moved to Worcester. We've built a digital film studio, and we just approached Donston to say, hey, actually, we're involved in the university. We're taking apprentices. How many have we got? Three apprentices, which is fantastic, and we're helping develop their careers. But I said, look, I could need with some support on innovation and technology. He said, what do you need? He said, actually, I need to develop a secure way of going online with some of our events, because we've got big security events, and we need to add some security. And there was a company that we found called Blockmark Technology. Really cool. They do blockchain, and they use NFTs, and you'll have to look it up later. And that allows you to put security onto online things. And they're in Malvern Science Park. I'm like, fantastic, they're local, we use them. So I came to Donston, and it was through a connection that we made. And I said, can I get some funding for this? And he said, yeah, you can, definitely get some funding for it. Turns out Blockmark Technologies, am I right, was one of your first cohort companies?
Yeah,
So
developed the same technology through us, and now implementing it with you.
Yeah, so I'm a lovely story of invest in technology, develop local businesses, support them, help them move on, and they will help generate capital. So we're also 75% export. So from our point of view, we intend to employ more in the area, we'll invest in the area, we'll push technology, we'll educate technology, we will help everything move forwards. And actually, BetaDen is helping us, and based on Nigel's piece earlier, we're a scale-up. So we're not a startup, we're a scale-up, but we're still getting support, and Worcester is a really good place for us to be. So we're very switched on to it, and thank you very much, because very neat and very good for us.
Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now that we've seen kind of one side of the innovation section, which is all the technology that gets involved, it's highly technical. There is the other side, which I think many of the businesses in here today might be more involved with, which is you're not as technical, but you might be fostering innovation in some way, helping other companies in their innovation practices or helping them grow in innovation. I know we have Debbie here from Oak House. Right at the front. I am going to pick on you. If you can just talk a bit about, because you have a different kind of practice on how you're fostering innovation.
Yeah, so last year we opened a brand new co-working and meeting space called Oak House Workspace. We recognised that there was a need for a space like this. I know there's lots of others out there as well doing the same thing, but in the St John's area of Worcester. And we felt the need that we needed to bring a place where people could come off their kitchen tables, could come into a community, a professional space where they can develop their ideas, build their businesses, build a bit of a connection, build their knowledge within a community of, you know, similarly minded people through sort of more low cost as well, because it's obviously there's a lot of cost involved in developing and starting up your own business. You can't always afford your own offices or premises. So we felt that we could offer that space and that arena for people to come in and, you know, work within our space and then hopefully grow and obviously move on and do bigger and better things following that.
Thank you. So I think that applies more to the hybrid working of things. It is a different digital age that we are in, so it's fostering innovation in a different format. If we can move over to the next question on your Slido. I don't usually say pay attention to your phones this much, but this is where we're at. Do you have any links with academic institutions? I wonder if anyone's receiving any support. That's with any academic institution around, even if it's not currently local. Interesting. Could I just see a hands up of who said yes on this one? Not to pick on you. Oh, wow, so there is a lot of you. Okay, John, I know your name. Could you tell us a bit? Could you tell us a bit about maybe how your links with academic institutions and how useful that's been for you?
Yeah, no problem. Thanks for picking on me, Dunstan.
You're welcome.
Yeah, I started off, as you know, I'm looking at innovation myself, getting some digital technology introduced, and I work with Birmingham University, who helped pull together a paper and a spec of what I required. They were going to fund it completely and then run out of money. But that's where I'm at the moment. And then they keep coming back to me, but I'm now looking at obviously Beta-Den and other options within the county.
Great. Yeah, hopefully we'll be able to be a bit more supportive in the future as well. Okay, and on to the final Slido question. Would you like more engagement in R&D and connections to academic institutions? If you're already connected, would you like further connections, a wider reach, a wider network? If you're not connected, have you found any barriers in doing so? Oh, definitely, yes. And the hands up who said yes? Great. Could I pick on County Council there? I'd like to get your views on this and how you view the links between academic institutions and local businesses.
Well, I think they're very important. So I'm Simon Geraghty, leader of Worcestershire County Council, and obviously part of the LEP as well. And we work very closely with the University of Worcester, and they're a really important institution in terms of Worcestershire. And obviously making sure that we can help grow those links are important in terms of the various sectors we do, whether it's social care, which is so important. Obviously, many of our social workers get trained at Worcester, teachers go on to educate in our schools, obviously important for the next generation, and other sectors. So I think I'm a keen advocate in terms of those links, and certainly I think they apply across various sectors. Great,
thank you. And I'll also like to, this question's just come to me. Midlands Cyber do work in cyber region across the Midlands, obviously, hence the name. Ryan Prothero is back there, Midlands Cyber Cluster Manager. I know you deal and you work with a lot of academic institutions and implementing them more into cyber business as a work front. Can you just tell me a bit about your work there and just to let everybody else know what it is that you do?
Sure. It's always great to try and talk about cybersecurity in my short slot and explain it to everyone in the room, because I think there's a big PR thing of actually, everyone's probably thinking right now of a hoodie hacker on a laptop, probably in a basement somewhere, but actually the innovation within cybersecurity across all sectors now is amazing. Specifically, the uni as well has just opened their cybersecurity lab, so it's really important actually you are reaching out to those academic institutions because they are doing a lot more in that realm of cybersecurity and tech as a broader angle. So actually connecting to them, to your businesses, makes such a huge impact for the future because we can't really escape it at this point.
Right. If you are looking for stronger links, because I did see there were a few no's in there, please do feel free to contact us, contact the LEP, and we will try and do what we can. That is the whole point of us being here. We are the linchpin, we are the links, trying to provide where we can. All right, that's enough Slido. Let's talk a bit about who Beta-Den are as kind of innovation leaders within Worcestershire. So we're an award-winning technology accelerator program. What is an accelerator? An accelerator helps businesses accelerate their product or solution at a faster rate than you will tend to be able to do by yourselves. Usually aimed at startups, but we also work with a lot of scale-ups and larger businesses. We're based out of Malvern on the Malvern Hills Science Park. One thing I do always try and iterate to everyone, Malvern is more than just the birth of Lord of the Rings. It is also a cyber hub. There is a lot of innovation, there is a lot of tech available there, and we're very proud to be positioned there and be able to help drive innovation within Worcestershire from that HQ base. We help technology businesses in all sectors grow and succeed. We have a strong rate so far. Actually, I will pick on some of our books. I see some of you in the room. Will, could you just talk about a bit about what you received out of Beta-Den and how maybe, hopefully, we helped you?
Yeah, for sure. So my name is Will. I run Triplo ESG. We do sustainability consultancy, but we're also trying to build like a platform for smaller businesses just to easily help them easily give them recommendations on things they can do to improve their performance. So we went to Beta-Den very much with an idea and not a lot else, and they helped us kind of refine that idea. We worked a lot with their tech mentors who sort of showed us what our MVP would be and then how to build that, and also a lot with marketing. We got a lot of marketing support and people sort of showed us what to do, best areas to go for and who to target. So it was sort of invaluable amounts of help. And I'm sure there's a lot of things that I can't think of as well. And like networking and contacts as well was extremely useful.
Cheers. It's always good to hear a good review. Yeah, as Will mentioned, we do offer mentoring, we offer funding, access to industry networks, hence today. We've helped over 50 businesses since 2018 who have collectively gone on to raise over £500 million in funding. So it's no small feat, really. We are working really hard with quite, what I would say, a small team, but we are passionate about innovation, we're passionate about technology, and we're passionate about helping these businesses grow and scale to the point that they really feel successful in. Okay, and I would like to announce that applications are actually open for the next cohort of our program. They do close next week, Friday, on the 1st of March. If you have any businesses in your network that think might be able to benefit from a program such as B2them, we do offer a highly tailored mentor program, one-to-one sessions, workshops, free access to Malvern Hills Science Park as a co-working space. You have access to £10,000 worth of proof of concept grant, £2,000 marketing fund, and you'll also be able to boost your profile through showcase pitching events, industry, networking, potential customers, investors all get involved within the program. So we're really there to make the right connections so you can succeed in your projects. Okay, and that is it from me. I've saved you some time, I think, so hopefully we'll move on to the next section. If you do have any questions or if you want to talk to myself or the team, please feel free, scan the QR code, go onto our website. All of our details are on there. So thank you very much, and I will pass you back to Nigel. Cheers.
So, as you can see, everyone, some interesting awards. I work a lot with tech accelerators around the world. We should be very proud of we got one right here in our own Worcestershire County. It is very good. I'm a big advocate of it. And some of the throughput of the technology and the innovation that we're beginning to see through the many cohorts is testament, I think, to the program that we've got there. So well done. And even the UK Business Angels group have put us in the rankings as well in terms of an interesting body to watch. And hopefully in due course, which I'm intending to put back onto the map, which is getting to work with the UK Business Angels Association, which is the main trade body for the UK. And they are very supportive of us trying to get some more help into the region as well. So we'll talk about that in due course, I hope. So right now, we're going to switch tack a little bit. For all of those of you who want to know more about this funny subject called artificial intelligence, I'm going to now introduce our speaker, Dr. Fininder Balagan. And Fininder is one of those people that, in terms of his role right now, he looks after and is responsible for the global strategy for AI across the whole of the Kinetic Group. He founded a number of small technology businesses, one of which was called, I think, Tech, Academia, and Government. Is that correct? Yes. So very much in the space of understanding more and more about the challenges of early stage businesses and also the challenges of growing that, but particularly around this lovely subject called AI. So, Fininder, welcome to the stage and good luck.
Thank you very much.
It's my favourite subject.
Hello, everyone. Just to give you some context, I've got 70 slides, so death by presentation is exactly what we're going to be doing. But I'm going to do those in 20 minutes. With a hope for us to have some time for Q&A. So everything's going to be very high level, but the questions hopefully can go a bit deeper. Please feel free to grill me. It's going to be great. So a little bit about me. So I actually work for two different companies. So Naimuri, which is a SME based in Manchester, which was bought out by Kinetic. Kinetic is based in Malvern, one of the largest defence firms in the UK and top 50 in the world. And what I do is write the global AI strategy for Kinetic. I'm also head of partnerships for Naimuri, mentioned TAG, a few different things here. I won't talk too much about myself, but hopefully that gives you a view of what I do. So, what to expect in this? We're going to go over what is AI, innovation, AI and innovation. How do we make the UK a global player in this space? the SME view, and then some time for Q&A. But why should you care about what I'm about to speak about? So, hype. Right, there's a lot of hype around AI right now. In fact, there's been lots of hype about many different buzzwords. So you may have heard big data a few years ago. There's plenty of them going around. But AI is very different to those buzzwords. AI has already been a part of our lives. Your smartphone or any device that you kind of use now, your TV, etc., actually has AI embedded in it. AI is real. It's already impacting what you do. That's what makes it different. There we go. So I always compare AI to the 90s. Now, I was 7 years old when this probably happened. So I was born in 93. But AI is like computing. So if you look at firms before computing versus firms after, which ones have existed? So firms that still use paper, do they still exist? Versus ones that now have embraced computing, embraced technology. It's the same with AI. I'm going to say something very controversial here. If you do not embrace AI, I don't think you'll exist in 10 years' time. Very, very, very controversial. But let's see how we can do that. So, what actually is AI? I'm going to just flip the words. It's intelligence through artificial means. This is the broadest possible definition you can imagine for this. What does that actually mean? If you get insight using a computer, that's AI. That could be anything. That could be something like a knowledge graph all the way through to machine learning. You'll hear a lot of rhetoric around this. Machine learning, data science, AI, they all mean the same thing. So I'm using the umbrella term for this presentation. Probably not worth getting into the depths of this. So what about innovation? Talking very high level about innovation. I always love these sort of slides where I put some quotes up from people who I think sound smart and have very smart names. I don't actually know much about Fyodor Levitt. But innovation is actually doing things. So, there we go. I love these parts, but what actually is innovation to me? And I try to put it in the most simplest way possible. So, it can be small steps, so like going from one version of an iPhone to another, through to disruptive technologies. But the key to innovation is you need to find new ideas. We've spoken today a lot about partnerships with academia, partnerships with other companies. It's really, really key. You need to find new ideas. You need to understand what is new out there. Then you need to understand the problem that you're trying to solve. There are very complex problems out there. Where are those problems? What are they? What actually makes this unique? And the hardest part of this is linking the two together. It's just a plus on this slide, but that is actually really hard to do. But that's where the innovation comes from. So you do that, you've got new ideas, you've got complex problems, that's innovation, that's it. And obviously, from the previous polls, a lot of businesses here think they're doing that, which is absolutely brilliant. But you may be innovating without realizing it. So AI and innovation, how do we bring the two together? So fundamentally, for AI to succeed, we must innovate. Why is that the case? So there's a really good term in innovation called the imagination gap. How do we imagine what is possible when we don't know what is possible? That imagination. And that's actually really key here. So if you're speaking to a customer and you're saying to them, I have this fantastic solution. It might be a fully AI solution, it might be AI's embedded. How do we show them what is actually possible, why your solution is great? So for me, this is what I call the proof of concept era. The proof of concept era is how do we need to show the art of the possible. This is where we are in AI right now. We must create AI solutions very quickly that showcase the art of the possible. Proof of concepts are a great way to bring to life what you're trying to achieve. It shows what is possible. It can be broken, it be buggy. I love that final sentence, don't deceive and you'll achieve. Be open about what you've got and be open about what your solution can do. So, embracing AI through innovation, it's actually, it's something that is very much changing day by day. Experts struggle to understand how we can use AI, and I recommend you use proof of concept to showcase the value. Now, Proof of concepts can only take you so far. They can do stuff like, examples inside of businesses. For me, is using like large language models to write an email document, to advance stuff like embedding AI tools into your solutions. That's how we can do some of that. Now, proof of concept can only take you so far. There are problems with this. A lot of AI solutions right now, which I'm sure a lot of people in this room are encountering, are stuck in the proof of concept stage. How many? Well, estimate is 75 to 90%, and that's probably higher. That's probably higher. Because we get an AI solution, we show the concept, and now we're like, oh, we're now going to use AI to do stuff. AI is going to make decisions. AI is going to do things which are actually quite scary to us. We're not used to this. So these are the 3 key blockers to getting your proof of concept solution all the way through to operationalization or production. Assurance, cyber, and ethics. And I'll talk briefly about each of those, and also a potential way to kind of make you think about how, from the first kind of step, you could prepare your systems for this. So the biggest blocker is assurance. How can I trust that this AI solution is telling me and not hallucinating? It's telling me the truth. It's telling me what I need it to be telling me. As I mentioned before, AI will make decisions. These could be life-death scenarios through to something very, very small. And we need to trust it. So assurance is a key part of this. How do we assure these AI solutions? Cyber and adversarial attacks. AI attacks will occur. In fact, they're occurring right now. People are using AI to attack. A very recent statistic shows that since ChatGPT was released, I think spam emails have gone up by over 1,500%, something like that. Scammers now have the tools to write a perfect English email in seconds compared to days, is what it took before. But that's actually quite an old statistic. There's an old method. There are new methods being released to attack every single day. So we need to make sure that from day one, when you're producing the proof of concept, or anything that you're doing with AI, it's robust, secure by design, secure by default. This is an example. This slide I actually added yesterday, very late on, like just before I was about to send this, because I was 50-50, but I thought I'd kind of mention this. All you need is 30 seconds of someone's voice, 30 seconds of someone's video, and that will be dramatically reduced in the next year, and you can make a deepfake. So you can phone up someone's family, you can do whatever you like, and create a video that could make, to deceive, essentially. So please be wary of this. Please be wary of this with your business, and this is just one example of the many different ways. Being agile in this space is very key. Ethics. How do we ensure that our AI systems are ethical? What does ethical even mean? Is it aligning yourself with the government? Is it creating your own ethical standards? Very, very interesting kind of thing, and I'll come back to this point. One way to kind of tackle all this, so one thing I would recommend here is something called traceable or traceability, if you've not heard this term before. At a high level, every AI process goes through this. Now, this is very, very, very high level. You capture some data, you transform it, you model it, you apply that model or algorithm, and you showcase an insight. The difference with AI is that every point in the life cycle will affect the eventual outcome. So, for example, if the data you captured is inherently biased or has a bias, everything else could be perfect, but your outcome will be wrong. At the same time, this could all be perfect, but the way that you're showcasing the insight could be wrong. So a good example of that I've seen in action is we're using object identification to identify a drone. And the person who was showcasing the insight, or the programmer that wrote it, used the words maybe. That drone is something you should maybe look at, which doesn't really mean much, right? What does the word maybe actually mean? And another way to improve that would be, let's give a percentage. I'm 60% sure that there is a drone in the sky. You should check it out. But again, it's very key that across that whole chain, everything is kept above board. You're checking the ethics, you're checking the assurance, and it's protected. You can inject all across this. So traceability is what I'm going to throw to you today. Keeping track, so model cards is another way to describe this if you've heard of that too. Tracing from start to finish how you get to the end site. Traceability enables all of these. It doesn't give you exactly that, but ensuring from day one that you have a traceable way of working with AI, that will bring assurance, explainability, auditability, reproducibility, understand the risks, and also highlight adversarial attacks. All of those which are going to be very key in the coming few years. This is about here is giving you an idea of what to do to prepare your solutions now for the future. I'm going to use a case study, and this is one of my favorite case studies to use, which is in this picture, we need to protect the grandma. Don't run over the grandma. So taking this on the side, so we captured some data from thousands of drives across the UK. We transformed the data to only focus on relevant use cases that includes pedestrians. We trained a model of algorithm on these use cases, applied the model, and showcased an insight. That's traceability. So we can see why it made the decision right at the end. When you're speaking to your customers, this will come up. You can show them a proof of concept, they'll be really excited, but actually they need to assure them that the whole chain, you've got a reason as to why you've got to that conclusion. So, actually that slide wasn't meant to be there, but that's fine. I want to talk slowly about the global view. So this is what my role is at Kinetic, is understanding where the global view for AI is and where does the UK sit on that. So I just want to mention this. So this was released last week. It's been mentioned a few times by a few ministers. Right now, the UK AI market is at $21 billion. In 2035, it will become $1 trillion. That's a conservative estimate, and that's looking at AI solutions. That's not even looking at AI embedded or business efficiency or all the other things that AI can bring to you. We are currently the third largest AI market in the world. Okay? That's crazy. We have some of the best AI experts in the world living in the UK. We have some of the best AI institutions in the world. I'm going to shout out to Warwick here, which is obviously close by, and some of the best AI companies in the world. So we should link them up. There's been a lot of talk today about partnership. Partnership is really, really key here. I'll actually ask the audience here, who here thinks they know what AI is? Exactly. Even AI experts, so if you look at people like professors from Stanford, etc., they struggle to even keep up with how AI is developing. So partnership is really, really key in this space. Every day, hundreds of large language models are being produced that are specific to different areas. That's unbelievable, the kind of stuff that's happening here. So, to become global, we must collaborate. One of the challenges that I always give in my presentation to everyone in the room is investing. So appreciate that when we're talking about SMEs, even to large corporations, time is money. But you must invest in this. You must invest to collaborate with academia, to build partnerships with other businesses, and also just to build partnerships with whatever else is out there. It's very, very, very key. So I'm going to talk slightly about the SME kind of viewpoint here. So being in an SME right now, and also in a large corp, it's very interesting the differences. Larger corps have to deal with legacy and are slow. Agility is one thing that an SME has above everyone else. If you are a small, medium enterprise business, use agility to your advantage. Okay, that's my biggest kind of thing here. You will stand apart if you do that. Worcestershire, place for innovation, absolutely. There are a number of firms already doing AI in this space. There are also a couple of large corps. Obviously, Kinetic is based in Malvern. The great talk before us, there's plenty of small, really innovation kind of happening in this space. But is it a world leader? And this is also, again, be very, very provocative here. Why should a customer, a company, look to come here? Why should they choose here over India, China, or Silicon Valley in the States, or Manchester even, or London? And this is my challenge to everyone in the room here is, this is where you need to shout about this region. There are some really cool things happening here. And there's a lot of potential here as well. And I think there is definitely scope for this to be a global leader. There are local communities. I'm going to do a slight plug for Kinetic here. So we run a number of frameworks for the UK government. ACE, EDP, DIRIC, there's a number here. So if you're looking to work with government customers, please reach out to us. Please reach out to me. There are a number of different ways that we can give you access to the right people. It's hard to talk about AI without talking about sustainability. This is something I'm really, really passionate about. If you've seen like the stats, some of the large language models, it takes sometimes the energy consumption of sometimes a small nation to be able to train a model, which is crazy. So please always consider the sustainability act of any AI that you do. And policy. Policy is changing all the time. I struggle to keep up with this myself. It's a huge part of what I do. The US, the UK, policy is changing on a weekly basis. Please keep on top of this too. Right, that's my presentation. I covered a whole lot of things at a very high level. So it's time for some Q&A, so please feel free to ask me as many things as you like. I'm on LinkedIn, so please scan my QR code. I also have an AI podcast, so I'm also going to plug here as well. Some really, really cool guests from academia and industry there too. So thank you very much. That was a very quick whiz through. I hope that was useful.
So, questions from the floor? Come on, someone must have one.
I'd definitely love to tap into your brain.
Just wait for the mic, there's one coming.
So I work in HR, so purely from a learning perspective, where do you see that landscape going? So if I'm working with various organisations, what's my advice that I should be saying in order to get ahead of the game in AI on the learning front?
So as in teaching?
No, so I work with larger organisations in terms of developing the capability within the workforce.
Right, okay. So I guess there's many different ways you can look at that. So if we're looking at, was it HR specific you were talking about there? Sorry, yes, okay. So internal business efficiency. I mentioned a proof of concept there. It's huge, right? So especially in large corporations, there is a lot of legacy ways of doing things. I've spoken to many in my career. Some still use paper, which makes me cry. But there's a digitization process, but actually it's what can show value. I'll give you a really good example of one which I used earlier. So if you're a legal team and you've got an NDA coming to you, and you might have your own standard template, compare your template versus the one that was sent to you. Use a large language model. Input both of those in, see what the difference is, why, what does those differences actually mean, what a task that could take you in the past 1 or 2 working days can now be done in 5-6 minutes. That's just a high-level example of one, but doing something like that, showing the value, that's what's actually the most important thing here. If you can say to a business, look, that's 5 minutes rather than 2 working days, that person can now focus that time on something else that's way more important. So that's my advice there.
Can I just ask a follow-up? I don't mind admitting that I don't have a large language model on my laptop. So what is that? I mean, I've got maybe a guess, but what is that to maybe most of us?
ChatGTP. Fine. Sorry. I said large language model, but ChatGTP.
So that's the free version. You go on.
Yeah.
You paste it in. You've got 2,000 characters available to you. Paste it in and say compare these two things.
Yeah. Very easily. So it's even more impressive. So yesterday morning, Google announced Gemini 1.5 Pro. A really cool thing from that is you can actually input video and it tells you about the video. So it's not long at the moment. I think it's about 7 to 10 seconds roughly you can do. But I'll give you an example use case. Someone did a video of their bookcase and they sent it across and he was able to tell the books that were on the bookcase. 7 seconds worth of information. This is, when I said to you before that AI is growing at a ridiculous pace, by this time next year, I predict that you could probably put in hours worth of video. So imagine you've got a TED talk on YouTube, put it in there, summarize it for me. And that's the state that we'll be in.
Just got a question about industries. Which one do you think AI will be most effective in? Because it's going to make a lot of people lazy by the fact that they can just go on a computer and find things out. But which do you think it'll be the best in for it to work? Because I work in a creative industry, and for us, could be massive is that people can just put what they want into AI and it creates what you're after. Mm-hmm. You don't get the human element of it, but you still get an end result that some will like. So it'd be good to kind of know what.
So when you say impact, do you mean in terms of threat to, or
yeah,
do you mean
threat to, but
right.
also I suppose we were talking about skills and labour, etc. earlier, and I think that, you know, manual industries, for instance, like you're always going to need a plumber. AI is never going to replace them, but it could replace someone who's a very creative person, because actually whacking it into AI, people can have a specific outlook that they're going for, and that's kind of where, for me, we see a big change.
Okay. So to be as blunt as I can, I think AI is going to impact every single industry, including the manufacturing ones. In terms of where that impact's going to be, I think, I was going to say, don't quote me on this, but AI will have a shift in jobs. That's going to happen. It's like I mentioned with the computing example right at the beginning of my presentation. When Excel came, a lot of different accountancy types of jobs were actually changed. I'm using accounting as an example there. That's going to be the case with AI. It's going to change how creative industries work. So using that as an example here. Could I use an AI to image generator to make like an icon? Absolutely. Does that mean I don't go to a creative industry to do that for me? Possibly. And so there is some change here that needs to occur. Do you now become experts in writing the best prompts to get things out quickly? Or do you really hound in on the human side? So AI, one of the big fundamental flaws with AI, it only uses existing ways of data to train. So it can't imagine, right? So not yet anyway. AGI, artificial general intelligence, isn't here yet, and that might be decades away. But right now, it can't imagine. It can create new things if they link two things together, that's true, but does it do it well? And right now, no. And that might actually take a while to do that. So I think it's about adapting and understanding what AI actually means for your business, and then being that change afterwards. So if I said, to, you know, as a creative person, you might say, I can create or write or draw or paint something in about a day or two's time. But actually, could you use AI to do 80% of that, and then you give it your final flourish? And then you can sell that to a business and say, look at this, like, yeah, they don't need to know how much of it's generated, but it's still got that human interaction. And that's where I think every business is going to have to look into that and understand the impact it's going to have. There's a few questions around the room.
Yes, my question kind of links a little bit with the young youth skills that we've talked about earlier. So I can still remember at school I did touch typing on that age. And then I did computer studies in sixth form, and I had a floppy disk. And it was a massive mental thing to say, I've got to trust something that I don't know what I'm doing, because it's going to work it out for me. Yeah. And there wasn't a single person anywhere around me who knew anything better than I did. And generally, most of us didn't have computers then, so we all incrementally went forward. Today, young people have got it on their phones. They've all got access to stuff that I don't understand, and probably from the lack of hands that went up earlier, nobody much here understands it. Those young people, I work with some of them, they're looking for jobs. And I would imagine there's zero job descriptions out there, hardly any, in any of our creative industries, manufacturing, you name it, whatever, that even mentions AI.
No.
So what's the challenge to us, over 50s, who are shortly going to move out of the workforce, to ensure that we actually, what have we got to do so that we create those really attractive jobs and opportunities to speak in a language to these young people that, frankly, do I need to care? Because I'm going to be, you know, moving on, but it really, really matters to them, if any of that makes any sense.
Yeah, no, that completely does. So 80% of jobs now didn't exist 20, 30 years ago. It happens all the time. My job didn't exist 6 months ago. You know, my job title, Global AI Capability Lead, that wouldn't have been a thing a year ago if it wasn't for the hype train. use AI. So right now, you can get access to lots of free things. So if you have an Android phone, by the way, there's an app released by Microsoft called Copilot, which gives you access to ChatGPT 4 for free. Highly recommend you download it, use it. That's the best way to understand it. That's the best way to see how you can use it. Where I see the over 50s being is the experience. So your experience in your sectors cannot be achieved by young people, right? And so you know what would work and what doesn't work. Download AI tools, use them. There's loads of free ways to do that. Microsoft, Google, Amazon, etc., all have ways for you to do it online. Spend an hour or two, or half a day, or a week, just trying to see with it and play with it. That will help you then understand what needs to be in the job spec for the next generation. I really appreciate that's a bit of a wishy-washy answer, but actually what you've asked me is a very, very hard question. Because right now, even as experts in this room, and I'm sure there's AI experts in this room too, we don't actually understand AI right now. We don't, even as experts. We don't know the implications. We don't know how it's going to change us from day to day. We have an idea, but it's actually it's a fundamental change in how we use technology. The youth of this, it's quite interesting to me, slight rant here, that a lot of schools are trying to stop children from using AI. And I'm like, why? Why are we doing that? AI is not going anywhere. We need to train them to use it. We need to train them to understand it. Because it's like the calculator thing. I remember doing a maths exam and not being allowed to use a calculator. You're not always going to have a calculator, they said. Well, now I've got a calculator with me all the time on my phone. It's the same with AI, right? If you're in an exam, yes, we need to have some fundamental knowledge. So let's say we're testing someone who was the last king or last queen, for example, for history. Do we test them on their knowledge off by heart, or do we test them at how well they can use the technology around them to get access to that information? So that's food for thought.
Lots of questions. Gary, time-wise.
Oh yeah, sorry, time. Yeah.
I was letting the discussion flow, I think. Probably from my side of things, kind of when we did the skills piece, we acknowledged that digital skills was one of our biggest gaps. Finney, you've described you're an SME, so what do you think businesses should be doing over that kind of next 6, 12, 3 to 5 years to kind of move their workforce? Because I think that's probably the biggest challenge I can now see, having listened to your presentation and thought about what we did this morning.
Yeah, training. Training is my mic on? Oh no, okay, sorry. Training. So right now, in the next 3 to 6 months, I think giving access to your employees to train is really important. The reason why I say that, I mentioned to you assurance, cyber, I mentioned ethics, 3 key areas. Those people trained in those skills do not exist right now. There are very few universities that I know off the top of my head in the UK that actually train graduates in those areas. They don't exist. AI assurance, bearing in mind I've said to you that every AI tool will need to be assured at some point. We don't have people trained in that. So it's really key to me, I think, that we train our people right now, because we can't just hire them yet. They will be hireable in about 3 to 5 years' time, but can we wait 3 to 5 years? No. And so there are a lot of training tools out there that are free right now, especially with AI. Again, look at big tech companies. Coming to events like these are also really, really good. I'm wearing a very jazzy shirt for a reason. I'll be sticking around until 1 o'clock. So please feel free to look for the guy with the bad shirt and ask me some more questions. And I can also pass on some tooling as well. Or send me a message on LinkedIn and I can send some of my favorites as well.
I think we need to show Finney a round of applause.
Thank you.
So for us here in the partnership, we're looking at, is there a sort of clear new ambition for innovation in the county? I think Nigel kind of described that Venn diagram that said about talent, enablers, funding, And this kind of knowledge piece of how do we kind of enable our existing business community to kind of take the view. And I think that's going to be something that we probably take away and really want to keep that kind of two-way conversation going between our local businesses, our training providers, and then the support that we start to think about putting in place. There's definitely, we need you guys to understand the value of innovation. I know the sort of innovative businesses, Am I Innovative, said like it was over 85% said yes. And I think that's going to be the piece here that we go, right, actually, innovation's not the people in white coats. It's not the kind of labs. It is about our existing small business base, thinking back to that sort of triangle of our businesses where we've got few very large. The SME community being more aware, using these tools, is something that I think certainly Finney has made me think about in terms of how we operate. And then does the partnership encourage the growth of innovation in the county? And I think that's something about how do we continue to do that. You can see Beta Den is one example, but it can't be the only. And therefore, those are the type of conversations we're looking to have with you over this next period. So at this session, and there are some sheets on your desks in the tables around, we're looking for people who can help us. So could you be a mentor to a startup or a scale-up in the county? Could you help us sponsor the startup scale-ups? Certainly, Beta Den is a model that we're looking at, how do we kind of broker in that mentor support? And we're always looking for people to support the model with either in-kind support or, dare I say, cash. Real money is always useful, because then we can do more. And then would you like to be an angel investor? It's something that Nigel alluded to around that funding piece. Those pieces are in the region, but actually, is there an opportunity here to kind of really make the community work around investment and really taking that kind of first step? Because, the venture capital firms are not necessarily interested until they can see a hockey stick in that business. And yet we're here fostering things in Beta Den and taking our kind of scale-up companies, we need them to take that first step. So this is going to be the end of this session. We are going to break just for about 10 minutes, just to give you guys a bit of a kind of freshen up. I know we had the infamous moving the car emergency, but hopefully not going to do that again. So I've not had that call. But I think we'll come back together and then we'll run the last session. We will get you out of here on time, which will be an important factor. So just have another break, discuss, what do you think? Always the team are interested in your views. Thank you very much.
Don't run away from the table.